I can never host primitive technologies. Okay, so cool. Back to video blogging. There's nothing better than after a long day to be able to just kind of start up a fire and have great conversations and beer to chat about life. I did this with one of my best friends. His name was Jim. He passed away a couple years ago, but his favorite things were to hang out on the front porch or be in front of a fire and just talk about life, talk about the things that we're interested in and the questions we have about the world around us, and just the ongoing learning. Jim was the type of guy that if there were kids down the block causing a ruckus, he would walk out in the middle of the night with a machete and just stand in the middle of the street. And he was a big burly guy, so you can imagine the kids ran. So he was a really great guy. In his memory and in his honor, I want to continue the conversations I would have with him, with the world, is why not? I think I'll start out with where I am in terms of this blog. So for those that don't know, I have Graves' disease. It's an antibody that is in your blood, and it mimics the receptors in your thyroid, and it can overstimulate your thyroid. I was actually diagnosed with it the year I was running for town council in 2009. And before I was diagnosed, I was on my way to having a heart attack, actually. I was almost anorexic. I would do a little bit of exercise and end up completely out of breath. And I would get home, I would just pretty much lay on the ground, sometimes in the doorway, because I would just be so tired. One night I had a whole bunch of delicious pizza because I love pizza, and there's a lot of sodium in it, and chemical mixes happened beyond my scientific knowledge, but basically the chemicals of the sodium reacted in my blood and it systematically paralyzed me. And so I woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't move. I thought I must have been really sick, but it was weird, my head was pretty clear. And so I started contorting my body, trying to get it to move again. And eventually I was kind of able to collapse out of bed over the next 15 minutes and spider my way toward the bathroom. And if any of you saw Jurassic World, there's a scene in which that similar thing has to happen. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And so I took my temperature and it was like 96 degrees. It's like, oh, I guess I am sick or something. And I took a hot bath and I went back to bed because, I'm a college student. I don't know better. By the way, if that happens to you, call 911. Next day I figured I'd go see a doctor, and they did a test and they found out I have Graves' disease. And that particular circumstance actually almost killed me because I was one symptom away from it paralyzing my lungs. You can surgically remove your thyroid. You can get radioactive iodine because your thyroid is the only gland that processes iodine, so it concentrates the radiation right here and actually can kill the tissue. Or you can stay on medication to try to stabilize it, but it's very variable. We had a family acquaintance that ended up doing the radioactive iodine, and it ended up not going well. He had to do a couple dosages, and it messed up his calcium levels, which your parathyroids control your calcium in your body, and he ended up really sick because of it. By the way, the warning signs for radioactive iodine is you're supposed to stay away from pregnant women, you're supposed to stay in a different bed, you're supposed to flush the toilet multiple times because you're literally radioactive. A little crazy, and I'm like, why would I put this literally radiation in my body that is dangerous to other people around me? It just seemed like such a high risk. So we did research, found it in Europe, where I'm a firm believer of the precautionary principle. They tend to lean towards surgery than not. And so we went ahead, and on July 8th, 2009, 789, I had my thyroid surgically removed. Fairly quickly, I ended up going into remission. A lot of my symptoms subsided. I gained a lot of weight, became normal. After the stresses of my mom passing and several other circumstances, which included my friend Jim passing away and a shooting in our office. And suddenly I found myself having my conditions come back. And so I committed myself to working on my health. And I went to see a chiropractic, I went to see an allergist, I went to see a counselor, and began aggressively approaching the issues with my body. And I had remarkable success with all of this support. And I also acknowledge I'm extremely privileged to have had the means to access these resources. And where I am today is I still struggle with my autoimmune disease. I have trouble sometimes moving around, and I have a lot of brain fog that comes of it. And any other stressor, such as allergies, can pretty much exponentially cause my body just to shut down. But I know that I have the tools to be able to work my way to remission. And that gives me hope, not just for myself, but also for other people. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that and share my experiences and hopefully help somebody out there. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I hope you all have a good night.